Education meeting of August 29th, 2023 to order. This meeting is held in the Roselle Park High School auditorium and is an open session of the Roselle Park Board of Education held under the Open Public Meetings Act of the state of New Jersey. Note of this meeting was sent to the Star Ledger, local sources, the Home News Tribune, the Borough Clerk, school offices, and the district website. Roll call, please.
President Harms,
Here.
Vice President Baiamante,
Here.
Susan Carlstone,
Here.
Mr. Figueredo, Dr. Whitney Kirkland, Cindy Mego,
Here.
Jennifer McCarr, Chris Monroe.
Here.
Constance Quintella.
Here.
Please rise for the flag salute. Chairs don't. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, let it be resolved that the Roselle Park Board of Education meeting hereby convenes to executive session for the discussion of the following subjects: student matters, personnel matters, attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated that the executive session will take approximately 60 minutes. The board may take action during public session. The board shall return to public session following the executive session at approximately 7 p.m. The minutes of the executive session shall be released to the public when the reason for the executive session no longer exists. Do I have a motion to go into executive?
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session. Brittany's here. Yep, she just came in.
Good, very good. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, hopefully. All right. I think it should be public, but if you want after the meeting, you can ask me anything. Yeah, I mean, it's a short question because we're gonna start right away. Yeah.
Cindy? Oh, you got the table? Yes. Okay. Guide me through this thing here. I'm gonna make a motion.
Yeah.
I'll make a
On the
motion.
other page, that's fine.
Yeah, I know. I know. I'm on a single page. Can I have a motion to go back into open?
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We are back in open. I apologize for the overage from 7 o'clock, but we were discussing items. At this time, agenda items only. Anyone wishing to speak, please come up. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name and where you're from. You'll have 3 minutes to present.
Good evening, Kathleen Paiva, Roselle Park. Item 52, disposal of textbooks. There's 50 sociology, 50 history, 50 world history, and 50 music. Could you advise why they're being disposed of? Is there a new curriculum? Is the textbooks just outdated? Yeah, that's number 52.
Actually, it's 55. 55.
I have here
Oh, did you get the new one out there? There might have been an old one printed. Okay, same difference. We got a textbook. Thank you. Anyone else? On agenda items only? On agenda items only.
Hi, my name is James O'Keefe. I'm an investigative reporter and I'm following up from my presence here last time.
What agenda item are you speaking about?
The agenda item is about personnel.
No, it has to be a specific agenda item.
Well, I left my agenda back there, but there
Well,
was,
it has to be an agenda item only. There's other participation for the public at the end of the meeting. So if you're not going to give me a number that you're going to speak about, wait until later. Thank you.
so at the end of the meeting.
At the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Anyone else wishing to speak on agenda items only? Seeing none, I will close the public portion for the agenda items only. At this time, we have no principals report. At this time, any committee reports? No committee reports. We will move on. The superintendent is in Portugal right now. She had this vacation planned a year in advance. So at this time, there will be no superintendent's report, but we do have two presentations tonight. Excuse me. The first one will be from Ms. Bodek. Not according to my agenda. No. Okay, so, okay, Mr. Salva, if you'd like to go first, please. Gotta put it in order. You're gonna be putting it on the
Yes.
screen? So if we'd like to go on the other side.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Public board, please. I think, is this word? There we go. Okay. This is reporting of the 2019, 2020 Title I audit. The audit was conducted over a long period of time, starting on December 2nd, 2001. Again, this was an audit on the Title I funding we received from the federal government, and the audit focused on the 1920 school year, and the audit took place between December 2nd, 2021, and we received the finding August 4th, 2023. This was virtual audit done completely through email and shared drives. Previous superintendent, previous BA, and the interim BA, as well as myself, the current ESEA project director, are part of the audit. One point to make is that the audit's personnel, their job for the New Jersey Department of Education is to audit specific grants and the usage of funds and paperwork associated with it. Going into the audit, we expect findings and recommendation, as this is their role for the New Jersey Department of Ed. I just want to make one distinction before going through the findings and what our plan is. None of the findings indicate any misuse of funds. The findings are specific to the documentation specific to Title I that there were findings to correct. So if Title I was removed from any of these issues, they're all appropriate uses of funds. It's just the Title I specific recommendations and requirements are what the findings are based on. So with that, the findings, there were 7 of them. The first finding, the corrective action that we're taking, and the correct completion date is on the slides. The first finding was a need that we review expectations for charging any expenditures to the targeted Title I grant. And we initially reviewed in August, and we are now setting up a monthly meeting just to make sure that all the paperwork across all the stakeholders is in place and accurate to what the state's requirements are. Finding 2, the corrective action that we are taking, again, reviewed August 2023, a monthly meeting set to address them on a monthly basis moving forward. The second finding focused on a need to review internal controls related to salaries that are charged to Title I. Third finding, again, same review time and monthly meeting set to make sure that we are in compliance with the most current regulations and expectations. Finding 3, the same internal controls to make sure that payroll attributed Title I, that everyone working in the central office is on the same page with what the expectations are. Finding 4 has to do with policy updates. Some of those policies are what are being approved tonight, and other policies that have been updated prior to receiving the formal findings from the state. So finding 4 is focused on policy updates. The 5th finding is related to an amendment to the grant, a change in how we're using the funding. We need to review the amendment process and to make sure that any transfer of funds taking place in the central office, that we have to follow the procedure, and we will review that on a monthly basis, repeat refresher training as needed for that. Finding 5. Finding 6, we put the corrective action in place immediately upon being notified that our timesheets lacked 1 or 2 pieces of information the Title I office expected to see. We implemented those immediately. There have since been additional updates to the timesheet expectations, so that we will add those to our monthly meeting to review and to make sure all expectations are on the timesheets used for Title I employees. And the 7th and final finding is to review step 4 of the ESEA planning process to make sure that the way that these funds are spent moving forward are in line with the planning and preparation that's outlined in step 4 of the planning process. So, and that is the complete corrective action plan. And that's that for my presentation.
You can stay, Mr. Harms. Good evening. I'm Colleen Bodek, the Director of Guidance and Testing for the school district. I'm responsible for state testing throughout the district. Tonight, I'm going to be sharing the assessment results for the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment and the Access for English Language Learners. Both were given last spring. So the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment is required of all 11th graders. It's the exit test to graduate high school. So that is given in math and English language arts. And as you can see here, this is our pass rate in English language arts as a district. And I think everybody's probably pretty proud of this. We passed with an 89%. So 89% of our students in district passed the first time around in English language arts. And that is 8% higher than the state's average of 81%. For math, we had a 48% pass rate. So definitely room for improvement there. and just a little below the state's average of 55% pass rate. For people who are better visual learners, this is the same, these are the same results, but just in bar graph form here. So our district level results are at the top and the state level results are at the bottom. Again, the green is passing and the red is not passing. And the state requires that we report disaggregated data. So this is a gender, and you can see we're pretty even there, female and male. This is based on program type. So all the way to the left, we have students that receive free or reduced lunch, followed by the second column, which is Section 504 plan. The middle column is English language learners. The second to last one is special education students, and the final one is general education students. So you can see we definitely have room for growth in terms of our English language learners and our special education students. And I am not seeing that because of the bar, but I think this is race. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. Thanks, Chris. This is the results based on race. And I know the last time I presented, there was a question as to what the state's disaggregated results were based on race. And unfortunately, that hasn't been released yet, and it's not released until the winter. But if anybody's interested in that information, it will be available on the NJDOE website in the winter. And then finally, some intervention strategies that we are putting in place based on the results. Our coaches, who I believe you'll hear a little bit more about later on in this presentation, they put together a spreadsheet based on various data points for students in ELA and math. And they were able to identify students that need supplemental instruction to prepare for things like the NJGPA. And so this year, students are going to have in their schedule a supplemental course, either in ELA or in math, based on their area of need. We also have professional development plan based on standard-based learning. And to address some of these demographic specific shortfalls, we have tutoring opportunities for ELL students outside of the school day. And our child study team will be focusing IEP goals on student deficits and in an attempt to increase their skills so they can perform better on this assessment in the future. And students who did not pass the ELA or math portion of the NJGPA will have an opportunity to retake it in October. And if they don't pass, then there are a menu of other assessments that will be looked at for graduation. And then finally, a portfolio appeal if that fails. So I'm moving on now to the access for English language learners that's given to all of our ESL students throughout the district. And that's to assess students' English language skills in the areas of listening, speaking, reading, writing, oral language literacy, and comprehension. We had 220 students tested last spring. And the students fell into one of the 6 following categories: entering, emerging, developing, expanding, bridging, and reaching. When students make it to reaching, they are egged from the program. And you can see our results here based on category. All the way to the right is the district-wide results. But if you look all the way to the left, that's elementary, followed by middle, followed by high school. So a majority of our students are in the developing language category. And just a note, this we test students, all students, so regardless of when they're coming in. So we could have a student with little to no English skills coming in January, and they're tested in March, and their results are included here. And here's the subgroup information by race. By gender. And by program. So some of the things we have in place to improve our scores moving forward on the access, we're putting some of our resources toward instructional resource support for our students during the classroom, the school day. We also have targeted interventions that will be tailored to meet specific ELL student needs based on these access results. Last year, a number of our teachers participated in sheltered English instruction training, which basically taught our general education teachers how to better meet the needs of ELL students. And this year, our ELL teachers will participate in district-wide articulation and professional development. Moving forward, in a future, very soon, board meeting, I will be reporting the results of the NJSLA, that's the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, and the dynamic learning maps, which were given in the spring. The district assessment information calendar can be found on the RPSD website under guidance, testing, and assessment information. And if you have any questions about any of the things that were reviewed today, feel free to reach out to me at cbodec@rpsd.org or by calling 908-241-4550 extension 2055. And lastly, DLM and NJSLA results will be distributed to families at some point in September. Look out for that mailing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salvo and Ms. Bodick. Appreciate the presentation tonight. We will move on to the agenda items under personnel 1 through 33 and addenda items 1 through 3. 1, staff appointments. 2, staff resignations. 3, additional time. 4, change of assignment transfer. 5, additional responsibilities with a stipend. 6, middle school extracurricular advisors, 2023-2024. 7, middle school additional classes for teachers for 2023-2024. 8, rescinding of staff appointment. 9, summer camp staffing. 10, athletic coaches, 2023-2024. 11, athletic coaches, 2023-2024 change. 12, high school and middle school athletic proctors, site managers for 2023-2024. 13, middle school athletic proctors. 14, volunteer boys soccer assistant. 15, activity chaperones. 16, after-school detention proctors. 17, breakfast proctors. 18, lunch proctors. No dinner. 19, district substitutes for 2023-2024. 20, district organizational chart. 21, Kane University intern agreement. 22, Fordham University intern agreement. 23, paraprofessional training. 24, affirmative action officer. 25, high school additional classes for 2023-2024. 26, high school extracurricular activities. Holy moly. 27, behaviorist monitoring for 2023-2024. 28, FMLA. 29, additional ESL summer enrichment program. 30, curriculum adoption, second reading. 31, instructional support stipend. 32, tier one instructional plans. 33, staff-led professional development opportunities. Agenda under personnel, item 1, additional staff appointments. 2, additional staff resignations. 3, rescinding of staff appointment. Um. Okay. Cindy, were you doing 21? 21 and 30? All right. We can do it in one.
Mr. President, can we
Is it-
separate one out?
Yeah, would you like to make a motion to table the 21 as to the particular
Yes.
individual, and then that could be seconded and removed from the consent agenda?
Okay, make a motion to table number 21, Tatiana Paredes, and also number 30 in whole.
Second.
Okay, there is no discussion, correct?
Correct.
Okay, there's a motion to table item 21, and the one,
For the one individual. was
one
posted.
individual, and then the entire item number 30. Is that correct? Okay, there's a motion in a second. Roll call?
Vice President Baimonte,
Yes.
Susan Carlstone,
Yes.
Lisa Figueredo,
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland,
Yes.
Cindy Mego,
Yes.
Chris Monroe,
Yes.
Constance Quintella, President Harms.
Yes, motion carries. Now do I have a motion for the remainder of personnel with the addenda items?
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on any item? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Baimonte,
Yes.
Susan Carlstone,
Yes.
Lisa Figueredo,
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland,
Yes.
Cindy Mego,
Yes.
Chris Monroe,
Yes.
Constance Quintella, President Harms.
Yes, motion carries. Moving on to agenda items 34 through 41 and addenda item 4. 34, 2023-2024 school tuition and transportation. 35, educational trip request. 36, approval for toilet room facilities for pre-kindergarten, kindergarten classrooms. 37, harassment, intimidation, bullying incidents. 38, conference attendance request. 39, conference attendance request. 40, 2022-2023 school year tuition and transportation. 41, approval of preschool training for teachers and coaches. Under education, addenda item 4, revision to preschool training for teachers and coaches. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a second?
Second.
We have any discussion on any item?
Yes, Mr. President, I have a question. Can we separate the two different HIBs under number 37 when voting, or how would that work?
You can make a request, Ms. Mago, to remove either or both of them from the consent adoption, and they could be voted on separately if that's your desire. If you're looking to separate it out for discussion, alternatively. Oh, for vote, you could just note your vote on the record on the roll call.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice President Baimonte,
Yes.
Susan Carlstone,
Yes.
Lisa Figueredo,
Yes, but I recuse myself of number 37.
37,
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland,
Yes.
Cindy Mego,
Yes to all except 37-038.
And on that item, how are you voting?
Okay. Chris Monroe,
No to 37-038, yes to 042.
Mr. Monroe, and the yes on the rest of the consent? Thanks.
Constance Quintella,
Yes, with the separation for number 37-038. No.
President Harms.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay.
We have
Yes.
5 yes, okay.
All right, moving on the agenda, items 42 through 57 and addenda item 5. 42, monthly certifications. 43, approval of bills. 44, approval of minutes. 45, secretary treasurer's report. 46, use of buildings and grounds. 47, budget line item transfers. 48, district contracts agreements. 49, reserve auction of equipment supplies. 50, addendum to ESS North LLC contract. 51, revised standard operating procedures. 52, NJCAP grant application. 53, ESSA Title I audit findings and corrective action plan. 54, middle school gate project change order. 55, disposal of textbooks. 56, counseling centers for human development and contract. 57, professional services contract 2023-2024. And agenda item 5, additional use of buildings and grounds. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on any item?
Yes. Number 55, I'm actually also curious, what was the reason for the disposal of the textbooks and how are they disposed?
You know how you expose them?
These are like 22 years old, so they're outdated. I think we can just dispose them. There's no way we can sell it. We used to sell the newer ones, but these ones are not gonna sell.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Vice President Biomonte,
Yes.
Susan Carstone,
Yes.
Lucy Figueredo,
Yes.
Dr. Brittany Kirkland,
Yes.
Cindy Mago,
Yes.
Chris Monroe,
Yes.
Constance Quintella,
Yes.
President Harms.
Yes. Motion carries. We're gonna go back. Go ahead.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify for the record, in case there are any questions of the board members or of the public on the vote on one of the HIB incidents under number 37. The roll call vote had 4 affirmative votes, 3 negative votes, and 1 recusal due to legal conflict. We have 8 board members present this evening. The recusal doesn't count towards that threshold. So you have 7 voting members and that requires 4 affirmative votes. So that action does in fact carry on a 4-3 vote. I just want to clarify that for the record because it appeared like a 4-4 vote, and in which case it would not have carried, but due to the recusal, it's a 4-3 vote that carries. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to continuing business. Hearing none. Under new business, I'd like to bring something to the board. Last month, the superintendent, we were talking and she wanted to know if there was some way that we could get answers back to the public faster than the process that we do now. The process we do now is somebody comes up to the podium, they ask the questions and we don't answer back and forth. Then we have to either one or two things, either somebody takes good notes and gets the questions that the person was asking right, so we know exactly what the person was asking. If not, then we have to listen to the videotape and listen to the videotape and then write down the answer. So that takes some time to do because it's just not the next morning. So what we'd like to do is that there's a box over on my left. It's just a white box up there. It has a a barcode or a QR reader. And what you can do with that, there's several things you can do, and I'll explain why we think this might work. If you scan it, there'll be a form that pops up. You put your question in there. You put your contact information in there. You put a good time to call you or text you or something of that sort. This saves time of somebody calling somebody, not having them answer. Then they have to call again, and it might be a day or two or whatever. This, when you QR, when you code this, it only goes to the superintendent, goes to no one else. We're thinking that this might help somebody who might not want to be here tonight to come up to the podium and ask a question. There might be parents that are at home that don't have the chance during the day to call the superintendent. So we're trying to look for a way that everybody can have an opportunity to get to the superintendent the same night or the day before. Like tonight, if you ask a question, you can go to your phone. That's what I understand. I'm not that astute with it. You can go to your phone, you can copy it, and you can paste it on theirs, and it would be in the superintendent's hand tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. The superintendent can go and send it on to the person who might be able to answer your question, or the superintendent will answer it for you. I don't know if this is going to work, if anybody thinks it's crazy or whatever, but this board wants to make you feel that we want to get back to you as soon as we possibly can, instead of waiting a day or so. I know in the past, it's been a week before people got an answer back on some of the questions that they had. So again, we're hoping this would work. Just a little note. This is not, please, this is not for parents to say, I don't like the principal, I don't like the teacher, I don't like the president of the Board of Education, I don't like this, I don't like that. This is not for that. This is for questions that you want to know an answer to. Still follow the same procedure you would do if you don't like me, or you don't like the principal, or you don't like something, or your students having problems. Please go through the same procedures you've done before. Again, we're hoping that this will save some time, give the community a feeling that we do care about answering your questions. Again, some people come up and ask 5, 6, 7 questions. It's awful hard to answer 5 or 6 questions, and they might be quite long. So again, if you just fill out the form, put the good time to call you, text you, whatever it might be. So it's going to be up here all the time. At the meetings, it'll stay up after the meeting for about 5 or so minutes. Because we want to be able to take that box and have the superintendent. If you do use the form on the internet, on the website, it will go directly to the superintendent, no one else. Okay, board, any comments on that? I mean, we're giving it a shot here. Okay, so any audience, use it, see what happens. All right, thank you. At this time, I will open the public portion for any member to speak. Please come forward, state your name and where you're from, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Board of Education members, colleagues, and Roselle Park families. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Christine Doherty, and I am thrilled to be approved as the new principal of Robert Gordon School. I cannot wait to meet all your children and families. I'm looking forward to a fun year of learning and new adventures. I will be hosting a meet and greet on the lawn at Robert Gordon at 3 p.m. this Thursday, if anyone would like to stop by and say hello. The PTA will be there with spiritware and goodies. It would be remiss of me if I didn't mention my Sherman family. Thank you to my friends at Sherman for encouraging me and being there for the last 23 years. A special thanks to Ms. Goyce for giving me this opportunity. I look forward to learning from her and achieving great things with her guidance. I am thankful to be part of this Roselle Park district, and I look forward to working with all of you in my new position. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.
State my address. Hello. My name is James O'Keefe. I'm an investigative reporter. And I just wanted to say a few words about someone who's applying to the board here of education, a person named Stephanie Corbin Brenner. Just wanted to read a tweet from Stephanie Corbin Brenner, who's actually in this room. Quote, "If you're willing to pay to see it pudding pop, who am I to stop you? She is an adult. Hashtag sex work is real work." This is from a candidate for school board. She's referring to her daughter, who's on OnlyFans, as Goddess Corbin Ray. And there's appears to be a pentagram next to that, which is a satanic symbol. Both Goddess Corbin Ray and her mother, Stephanie Corbin Brenner, are sitting in the back of the room right there with the gray shirt. So they're running for school board. I just thought the public should know that. And as always at OMG, O'Keefe Media Group, we're distributing cameras to parents. What's that? So what's the problem?
Please let him finish. He has 3 minutes. Thank you.
The lady says that I need to state my address, which is clearly
You're
designed to intimidate me. Is it the policy of the school board for me to state my residential address?
In the beginning, state your name and where you're from.
I'm from Bergen County, New Jersey. And as a resident of this state, according to New Jersey state law, I have a right to be here as a resident of this state. And the public has a right to know if someone, again, is tweeting about pudding pop. Now, we don't know what she meant by pudding pop. We looked it up in Urban Dictionary, and I'm not going to say what it means. Hopefully, she just meant it in the same vein as homeboy or something like that. But I will be in the back of the room after the school board meeting.
Your comments will be facing the board, please.
I will be in the back of the room offering hidden cameras. Last meeting, we had about 6 people take our hidden cameras, and we'll be distributing them throughout the schools in New Jersey because we need to record and make transparent what's going on. Tomorrow, OMG will be releasing a video on the internet, an amazing video showing police coordinating with Board of Education officials, an extraordinary video that we obtained through FOIA request, the footage off of a police officer's body. And if you want my address, I'll give it to you.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I did learn some things. Thank you very much. But I have a question for you. I know in Oklahoma, the state is thinking of taking over the school district in Tulsa based on the fact that the test scores are not adequate and therefore the state needs to step in and take over. I know in New Jersey, the people like talk to that know something about what's going on down in Trenton, that the state is trying to take over as many school districts as possible. I don't know all the details of it, but I do know that they are planning for that. And I was wondering what the board's response is to this question.
We don't comment back to you. You make a statement and we thank you.
Chris?
You gotta make sure the mic's on.
He's not on.
if you prefer. But I couldn't hear the last gentleman, so I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
All right. Good evening. My name is Stephanie Corbin Brenner. I'm a Roselle Park resident and a proud mom. Within my 29 years as a parent of four, 3 of whom have already graduated this district, I have never felt compared to speak at a board meeting. That changed when I noticed the rise in hate speech and harmful rhetoric sweeping the nation and infesting our town, and this board in particular. But also when out-of-town residents invited here by neighbors and members of this board exercised their right to speak at our meeting and use their time to spread hate, disinformation, and attack the queer community. To briefly address the gentleman who offered our teenagers with smartphones hidden cameras, not only am I confident in the teachers here in Roselle Park and the work that they do, but I'm also confident that my kid can use the camera on his smartphone should he feel the need to do so. For the others that spoke, I will just say that the rising trend in being non-binary is not a threat. We love our kids and we are happy to give them the freedom to be whomever they choose to be. The only threat is the bigotry and hate speech that is getting louder and the deafening silence that follows. Since the last BOE meeting, there have been 2 cases of extremists with guns, murdering innocent Americans in the name of the same rhetoric being shared here. Cheering on anti-LGBTQ and anti-woke talking points, promoting sundown town lynching songs, and denouncing Black history behind the dog whistle of CRT. These are the dangers to our community. I recently asked a neighbor how often she had to worry about her family being stopped, detained, or ID'd while trying to live their lives. Seemed the question was maybe misunderstood, so I'll add to it and ask it again. And I'll ask everyone here, how often do you have to worry about your loved ones being stopped, questioned, suspected, detained, or murdered while just being Black in public? Maybe some of you have the privilege of not having this concern, but not our queer community and not our communities of color. For them, that's not the case. For those who look the other way, while this rhetoric is being spurred, you have blood on your hands. Let's hope, and God forbid, that that blood is never a student or a resident of this town. Because if that happens, you'll never be able to forgive yourself, and I will never let you forget it.
Thank you. Excuse me. Please, please. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jennifer McCool, Roselle Park. While certainly we should not make light of the last person's comments, I feel that we need to take a step back and remind ourselves that we are here at a Board of Education meeting. And I think the most concerning thing that was brought up tonight is the fact that only 48% of the upcoming senior class passed their math for graduation. That is an alarming number and something that we should not take light of. My daughter is going into the graduating senior class this year, and she had just passed by the skin of her teeth. She has always been a straight A student, but for some reason, obviously, our students are being failed with the math curriculum. My question to Ms. Bodek earlier was, what % of the 48 failure are ELL or special ed students? But separately than that, what percentage are not part of that class? I can understand the need for the ELL and special ed to need special classes and so on to nurture them individually. But the rest of the general population that failed, what are we doing? It's too late now. They're seniors. They're already applying for colleges. So technically we failed that class. My question is, we've known that these scores are so low. They've been low over the past couple of years. Ever since COVID, we've seen our scores declining. So now what are we doing for the freshmen, sophomore, and juniors so that they can catch up, so that we don't have to worry about seniors graduating from the high school? Thank you.
Right. Thank you. This is one of the, just so a little note, this is where questions like that should be put in that up there. So this way we can get the answers to you. Sorry, we can't do it tonight, but that would be the time to put it up there. Thank you.
Hi, Mayor Joseph Signorello, 508 Sherman, Roselle Park, New Jersey. It's weird being on this side. I usually just get Board of Ed members coming to poke me. I I just want to say I'm glad to see somebody actually speaking about content here, right? Because this is what the Board of Ed should be about, right? Like actual policy, actual education, actually how our students are performing, right? I've only got 3 minutes, so I'll be as brief as I can be. And I really don't want to be here because I don't have kids. I try not to get involved. My job as mayor is to make sure that your kids are safe, and we work with the Board of Education to make sure that your kids are safe. But last year I ran for re-election, and while making sure that I was at the voting booth, I saw folks from California, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, everywhere focused on our Board of Education race here in Roselle Park, right? Now, yeah, you may be from Bergen or wherever you say you're from, but I'm assuming that there's a lot of conservatives here, right? Or so-called conservatives. And what that entails and what conservatives espouse is hometown rule. Make sure that we work on our curriculum, our policy, our test scores. So my point is, if you're on the Board of Education and you've made this some national issue, shame on you. If you've brought in Californians to come espouse whatever your belief, right, left, or indifferent, shame on you. And if you have as much hate in your heart that you have to come to little Roselle Park of 14,000 people to come and shout whatever nonsense, whether it's anti-woke agenda or anything test score wise, shame on you. And I really suggest you get a hobby. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's for everybody. I'm just giving that because
Almost. Well, you do, because it's live screen, please.
All right. Ted Timpanic. I'm an outsider, but I think some of you know me. South Amboy, New Jersey. Field rep, New Jersey Education Association. Nice to see you folks. This is actually the first time I've been to a board meeting in the 6 years because I've never had to come, ever. We usually handle things pretty well here. Negotiations, pretty solid, quick, good relationships, great relationships with administration. We're going to be bargaining again this year. But I got to tell you, I mean, what we're seeing right now, probably more members than you've seen in the audience in a while. This is terrifying for them. It's a little disconcerting for me too. I'm afraid I'm going to be recorded. You know, it's going to be edited in a way to make me look bad. And that's not from you folks, obviously, but I am concerned about that, especially considering the good relationship that we have had here for a long time. Now, I speak from experience. Mr. O'Keefe sent an operative into my office about 5 years ago, March of 2018. They sent folks throughout the state, the other NJEA offices. Guy came in asking questions and asked, what are you asking for? What are your, he was being very ultra vague, but he was being very loud. After a couple of minutes, he just jumped up and ran out of the office. We're like, what the hell is this? And got into a car and they zipped out. But that's not really, reporting. That was kind of cowardice. So I speak on behalf of my members who are scared. This is not the life that they're used to. They just want to teach. They want to get a meaningful wage. They want to have a living wage. They're concerned with that. They're concerned with their kids. We don't need this. And I think you folks mostly agree. But with that being said, our concern is that this was invited into the district by one of you. Very clearly there's been some interactions. And I'm concerned about that because, again, we don't have the drama here that, this is, we don't have this kind of drama here in Roselle, as was noted by the mayor.
Park. That's Roselle Park.
I'm sorry, Roselle Park. Yeah, sorry. Different place. And I'm the field rep for both, so I do apologize for that. But with that being said, we've had long-lasting relationships. This is not the circus that is being created here. But I will say this, and this is not a threat, okay? If we find out that a board member has brought this in, and then we have issues with these cameras and it's misconstrued as it has in the past, and it's very easy to research that a lot of these cameras are selectively edited. Mr. O'Keefe has been sued successfully. With that being said, if something happens to one of my members and I find out that a board member brought this circus to town, I'm gonna have a real problem with it. And you will see the legal weight of the NJEA involved. Thank you.
With that comment, I'll make the same statement. I'll have a serious problem with it also.
I know, Mr.
Okay,
Harms, and I
and
I will say this to you.
And I usually don't.
I
You had your
appreciate
3
you, and I
minutes.
don't want to make
You
it
had
seem
your
like
3
that.
minutes. So you made it sound like this board here
No,
has
I'm-
created somebody come here.
yeah,
I'm letting you
Yeah.
know how it came across.
yeah.
Every teacher is sitting out there, and I've been on the board for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I have never, ever let them down to have them feel
And
unsafe. to
I
come to
agree with
work.
you. Yeah,
Okay?
I
So I don't want
yeah, I
them
don't
to
want
do
it
it
to be
again.
that way.
The last time we had this thing here, we assured the teachers that there's none of these cameras that this gentleman here. That gentleman was on tape, and he cannot get anywhere to put any table.
Yeah.
And if he says there was 8 people that took him, that's their prerogative. Okay.
And I'm
So
aware of
again,
that, yeah.
I don't like to do this because I don't do it with my own residents.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're on the
I
same
apologize
page.
to my residents, but this made it sound like this board here has created this gentleman to come. We did not.
I'm
Is
not,
that correct, board?
That is correct. No.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
So-
I'm just,
so
and
again-
I'm speaking to that. I'm saying you and I are on the same page here with this.
Absolutely.
But I will tell you, NJEA, we've done our homework. We see things. I'm not saying that
Okay.
this board made a decision to do this by any means. But ultimately, that's a concern of these members. We're watching social media. We're paying attention. We see things. And, I'll be happy to have that discussion. That's why you have my business card. Okay.
I'm sorry, but your 3 minutes is up.
Okay.
I
Good
shouldn't
to see
allow
you
more.
again.
Good. Yes, you too.
Through the board president, I just also want to note for the record, this video taping in school issue was last raised at the previous board meeting. The superintendent's not here tonight, but she did put out a missive to the community advising that there is a board policy governing use of videotaping devices at schools. It generally prohibits students from engaging in such conduct. I believe that was also shared with staff. So through the last speaker, I would encourage your members to review that, and the superintendent's guidance will be enforced as the school district resumes school this coming year. That board policy will continue to govern.
That's not towards teachers. Anybody that has these cameras that this gentleman says he has, that's what we're actually referring to. have that.
Correct,
Okay.
Mr. Harms. The board policy generally prohibits students from engaging in videotaping in the classroom, and it provides further guidance on basically when cell phones can be on the student's person versus placed in a locker. And any parents should certainly review that policy with your students. And the superintendent put out guidance to inform everyone further on that policy, since this has become a public topic.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Janine Goodis, Roselle Park. Thank you, Mr. Harms, for addressing this. That's why I was here tonight, because I wanted to see if this was going to be addressed. Unfortunately, the July meeting is usually slow and quiet, and everybody works, and I was unable to attend last month's meeting. I wish I did. I wanted to meet Mr. O'Keefe. Luckily, I get my chance. My burning question is, who invited him? Our school district has not been the focus of any investigation, and aside from one board member's posting, we really haven't had much negative press. There's been upsetment about what's happened, what that board member has posted, but realistically, I've been coming to these meetings for 20 years. They've been dull, thank goodness.
Sorry.
There was a picture circulated of Miss McCarr with Mr. O'Keefe, and the caption says, "Stay tuned." Unfortunately, that makes everybody believe she is the reason that he is here. I find it abhorrent that the rest of the board would allow the staff that you guys hired and put your ultimate trust to educate our children in this town in an unsafe and unsavory manner. And I am glad you spoke out tonight, because I was really concerned. And I know that's not how you operate, Mr. Harms. As an educator, there is nothing I can think of worse than to have people who hired you not trust you for what you are doing. Most educators, and surely everyone I have ever met in this district, does their jobs because they want the children to succeed, period. Saying they're teaching them something that's inappropriate is vile. Ms. McCarr is the person that I and many other believe invited this kind of trouble into our town, and there should be repercussions. It's not acceptable that she should be allowed to say and do what she wants with other people's children. Hopefully, we will be able to vote her out, but there is something that you can do now, and she needs to be removed, in my opinion. Where we go from here, I'm not sure. I'm sure I'll be on video as usual. My children will love it. But please, don't allow these cameras to cause problems in our town. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public portion. Thank you for everybody's comments tonight. If there's nothing else, one thing, next meeting is on the 19th of September. We are changing it from here. We are changing it to the middle school auditorium. And the reason for that is we have brand new seats. All the floor was done, new lighting. Our what do you call that? The science lab was redone. So we're kind of proud of what we've done from some of the community's input. So we feel very good about it and we want to show it off. So next month is going to be at the middle school. And we'll put notice out of when that's going to be. If there's anything else. Oh, I thought you want to say something. Okay, if nothing, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.